morning, my friends. I want you to pause for a moment and really think about this. How you start each day with God determines how your entire day will unfold. Yes, that's right. If your morning begins in chaos, distraction, or worry, your day will chase after that chaos. But if your morning is intentional, filled with peace, and aligned with purpose, everything else in your life begins to fall into place. Today, we are going to talk about something so powerful, it can literally change the course of your life, something that many people overlook, yet it is the key to unlocking your destiny, starting each day with God. I want you to listen carefully because this is not just another motivational talk. This is a spiritual strategy, a life principle that shapes your decisions, your relationships, and your opportunities. Every morning is a battlefield, and the very first choice you make in the early hours either sets you up for victory or opens the door to defeat. By the end of this message, you will know how to take control of your mornings, your mind, and your destiny. You will discover how small, deliberate actions each morning can protect you from confusion, fear, and missed opportunities while positioning you for favor, peace, and unstoppable progress. So I want you to stay with me, watch carefully, and commit what you hear. Because what you learn today could be the difference between living a life of frustration, confusion, and regret, or a life of extraordinary purpose, impact, and blessing. Stay till the end. Because this message is not just about mornings, it's about your life, your destiny, and the difference that one intentional choice each day can make. How you start your day determines how your day unfolds. The morning is not neutral territory. It is the most strategic moment of your life because whatever captures you first will command you all day. If confusion greets you first, confusion will follow you. If fear speaks first, fear will manage your decisions. That is why purpose must wake up before pressure. You don't drift into victory, you enter it deliberately. The first thoughts, the first words, the first focus of the day establish the government over your mind. Morning is when your will is strongest and distractions are weakest. And if you waste that moment, you spend the rest of the day recovering from a bad beginning. Many people are fighting problems that were never meant to survive past sunrise. You cannot expect order in your life if your day begins in disorder. The tone you set early becomes the rhythm you live by. Life does not change at night, it changes at the start. Declaring joy and peace as spiritual authority is not emotional expression, it is a legal announcement in the unseen realm. Joy is not a reaction to circumstances, it is a decision enforced by truth. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of alignment. When you speak joy, you are not describing how you feel. You are defining how the day is permitted to behave. Words are containers of power, and silence gives permission to chaos. The enemy is not afraid of your feelings. He responds to your declarations. That is why you must speak before pressure speaks to you. When you announce peace, you are setting boundaries around your soul. You are telling anxiety it has no jurisdiction. Telling frustration it has no authority. Authority is exercised, not felt. And when joy and peace are spoken early, confusion loses its right to rule your mind. Winning the morning before the battle begins is the difference between living in reaction and living in command. Morning is when destiny is quiet and distractions are still asleep. And whoever occupies that moment gains advantage over the rest of the day. Battles are rarely lost in the fight itself. They are lost in preparation. If you begin the day rushed, distracted, and uncentered, you have already surrendered ground. The enemy prefers tired minds and delayed decisions because delay weakens authority. Discipline in the morning establishes dominance over your schedule instead of allowing your schedule to dominate you. Those who govern their mornings govern their emotions, their focus, and their outcomes. You cannot expect strength at noon if you avoided discipline at dawn. The unseen victories of the early hours produce the visible victories everyone applauds later. Discipline over feelings in daily living is the foundation of maturity and the evidence of true leadership. Feelings are unstable. They shift with weather, words, and circumstances, but discipline remains loyal to purpose. If you allow emotions to decide your actions, you will live inconsistent and confused. Purpose demands structure, and structure requires discipline. Every successful life is governed not by comfort, but by commitment. Discipline is choosing what is right when it is not convenient, and doing it repeatedly until it becomes character. Feelings beg for relief, but discipline pursues results. You cannot build a stable life on temporary emotions. Those who master their feelings gain authority over their future, while those who obey feelings surrender control of their destiny to circumstances. Surrendering your life to God each morning is not weakness. It is the highest form of wisdom because no one understands your design better than the one who created it. Surrender is not losing control. It is placing control into capable hands. Every morning, you are either submitting your life to purpose or offering it to pressure. When you say, "Here I am," you are realigning your life with its original intent. Pride says, "I can handle today alone." Surrender says, "I was never designed to." The moment you acknowledge your dependence, you activate divine assistance. Surrender removes confusion because it settles the question of ownership. When God owns the day, anxiety loses its grip, fear loses its voice, and direction becomes clearer. A yielded life is not a limited life. It is a guided life, and guidance protects you from unnecessary battles and self-inflicted wounds. Asking God for daily direction and assignment places your life under intentional leadership instead of accidental movement. Life becomes exhausting when you move without instruction because motion without purpose produces frustration. When you seek direction first, you protect yourself from wasted energy and wrong turns. Many people are busy but not effective because they are active without alignment. Guidance simplifies life by narrowing your focus to what actually matters. When you ask for assignment, you are acknowledging that every day has a divine agenda. Direction brings clarity, clarity brings confidence, and confidence produces decisive action. A life that listens before it moves is rarely confused and seldom regrets its steps. Letting peace confirm God's guidance protects you from emotional decisions and impulsive choices. Peace is an internal witness that signals alignment, not comfort. Confusion creates pressure, but peace produces stability, even when the path is demanding. When peace is absent, it is often wisdom telling you to pause. Rushing without peace leads to regret, while waiting with peace builds confidence. Peace does not always mean the absence of opposition. It means the absence of inner conflict. When your spirit is settled, your steps become steady. Decisions made in peace carry clarity, while decisions made in pressure carry consequences. Humility attracts divine elevation because it acknowledges the source of ability and wisdom. Pride resists instruction and isolates a person from help, but humility invites guidance and correction. When you recognize that you do not know everything, you make room for growth. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking accurately about yourself. Those who depend on God gain access to strength beyond their own. Elevation follows alignment, and alignment begins with submission. A humble spirit remains teachable, adaptable, and responsive to direction, and that posture positions a life for advancement beyond personal limitations. Choosing to be a peacemaker intentionally is a decision that shapes every interaction and protects your life from unnecessary conflict. Peace is not the absence of disagreement, it is the presence of control over your reactions. When you decide to maintain calm, you refuse to give power to anger, frustration, or offense. A peacemaker influences environments, diffuses tension, and attracts cooperation. Choosing peace requires discipline and focus because the world rewards reaction, but God rewards restraint. Every deliberate act of peace strengthens character and sets the tone for relationships and opportunities. Being mindful to bless others every day is a principle that multiplies favor and shapes your influence. Words and actions that lift others create an atmosphere where cooperation and goodwill flourish. Complimenting, encouraging, and serving are not small gestures. They are investments in relationships and character. When you give, you position yourself to receive, and when you build others, you elevate your own life. Blessing others requires awareness and intentionality, because the world moves quickly, but the seeds you plant with kindness produce lasting fruit. As we bring this message together, remember this: how you start each day with God determines the outcome of your entire day. If your morning is intentional, disciplined, and surrendered to Him, you set a rhythm for victory that the enemy cannot touch. Every moment, every word, every decision you make after that builds upon the foundation you establish in the first hours. You have learned today that victory begins with discipline over feelings, speaking declarations of peace and joy, seeking God for guidance, walking in humility, and being mindful to bless others. These are not just habits, they are spiritual strategies. They protect your mind from confusion, align your life with purpose, and open doors that no one can close. When you begin each morning asking for direction, surrendering your life, speaking life over your day, and choosing to bless others, you step into a life of clarity, favor, and unstoppable momentum. Remember, your mornings are sacred. Your words have authority. Your life is too valuable to drift. Every intentional morning with God positions you to experience extraordinary purpose, peace, and influence that will carry you far beyond what you could imagine. If this message spoke to your heart and you are ready to start each day with God, make sure to subscribe to Dr. Myles Munroe teachings and join a community committed to living life with purpose. Leave a comment below. Today, I choose God first, and let the world know that your mornings and your life will no longer be ordinary. Remember, your mornings are not just a routine. They are a launch pad for destiny. Speak peace, declare joy, bless others, and step into every day with God. When you do this, everything else begins to follow.